Hello, beautiful people. No production team, no hair and makeup. Happy Sunday. We're in for a treat. Let me begin with the intro music for all of you following. If you can name the song, 2 tickets to Hawaii. Strength, courage, and wisdom. Hi. Let me put it back on. India Marie in the house.
Yes, all
Okay.
right. I love it.
I normally don't bring you on until I do the intro, but you're on, so I'm going to talk about you for a minute. So everyone, welcome everyone. This is going to be so good. This lovely woman, Caroline Kohles, early years were all about her love of dance and movement. Her college years at University of Santa Barbara were focused on her dance and performance workshops and continued her performance career for the following 17 years, even including a dance studio. Caroline realized during this particular chapter of her life that her superpower was being a connector and a networker, with always having a focus on learning and living in curiosity and wonder. 23 years ago, Caroline's path brought her to the one and only JCC. That's what we call it. The official name is Marlene Mayerson, JCC of Manhattan, as the Director of Health and Wellness, a job that keeps her very busy and lets her curiosity muscle continue to grow, baby. And she carries the 4 pillars that are a constant in her programming: move, restore, nourish, and connect. Like, what if we all, my 9 million followers, what if we all carried those 4 in our pocket? They would be good pillars. So, my dear Caroline Kohles, let's begin. Number 1, what is it about movement and dance that provides so much joy and healing in your life work?
I think that to move well or to move at all, to move with freedom and joy and abandon is our birthright as humans. And I think that as we become more digitally attached to our devices, we're seeing that people are getting more and more uncomfortable with their body and more uncomfortable with just the pure pleasure of moving around. And what I love is creating a space and providing an opportunity for people to just return to what we know as humans, which is how do we play? How do we interact? How do we move in a way that makes us feel free? And freedom is what I'm really looking for. It's like my middle name, and it's been since I was a child. I love to climb trees. I love to turn on the music and dance. I was better at dancing and moving than I was at speaking. And Diane, I wonder if you felt the same way. For me, when I moved, everything made sense. When I was in a dance company and we didn't talk, we just moved. It helps me access my intuition. It's a whole other language. And I think that it would be a shame to lose that as we become more technologically savvy. I think there's a way to combine both. So that's what gives me joy. And honestly, it is bliss. I reach my bliss point when I am with people moving and letting them find the color of their movement and their unique spirit. It's just a prayer. It's a turn on.
I love
It makes me
that.
feel
And
alive.
Chef Melanie wants to
So
know how we met. You know Chef Melanie Underwood, right? Well,
I don't think I
Yeah, she's
do. Chef Melanie, I want
incredible.
to
You
know
do
you.
want to know her. She'd be great for some of your programming. Um, I want to
Awesome.
answer your question, but to answer Melanie, I met when I was at a panel that you gave, and I was blown away not only by the panel, but how you who you brought on the panel, but how you moderated it. And I sent you a book, and I'm like, I want to have a cup of coffee, and we had a very wonderful cup of coffee. Oh, you took classes there. She took classes there. Come. I'll connect
Oh,
you too. You would love
okay.
Chef Melanie. She does great work. She
Yeah,
teaches
yeah.
young people to cook, but she does a lot more. So you would love her. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and I have to say, Diana, that you are really a unique spirit. And I have had the pleasure of having you in class. I've had you on panels. I've seen you just in your generosity give a talk on your own. You are a very unique lady, and I said to you, I wrote you a little note because you sent me a thank you note because I was supporting your amazing hunger, raising money for
Yeah, no
kids
kid
kids
hungry.
for
Yeah.
hunger, right? Is that right? No kid hungry. And I just thought, this is a magical being, and I just want to
Thank you,
acknowledge you for
love.
that.
Via Nia is, do you know Via
Awesome.
Nia? That's Melanie's sister-in-law. Oh, via Nia, through Nia, maybe through
Oh,
Nia. Yeah, I'll
wow.
connect you
Yeah,
two when we're not doing a lot.
yeah.
No,
Okay.
thank you for that
Yeah.
beautiful compliment. I love it. I love that. You and I, like, I literally can we have a cup of coffee?
Sisters.
And it was like 2 hours, like we'd known each other from a past life. And everything I said,
Yeah.
I want to do a book signing. I want to do a panel. I want to do a talk. You were like, yep, 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 yep. So I'm honored to know you too. So thank you.
Well, the power of yes is really important. Finding, you asked about movement. Really, what we're doing, or what I'm doing, is finding the yes in the body. And the same thing is true with whomever I work with. And I think you wanted to talk
Yeah.
about people living with
Uh,
Parkinson's.
yeah,
In my
I'll
time at
get
the
to that. Just to
JCC,
finish
yeah,
the,
I done that.
because you asked me about my connection to
Hmm.
movement versus talking. It's very funny that you asked that because
Yeah.
anyone who knows me knows I do like to talk, but I move a lot and I wake up early before my husband and my puppy and I dance. And when I'm in my greatest joy, when I'm in my deepest sadness, when I'm in my I need grounding, that's where I find it. It is my go-to.
Yeah.
I'm quiet and I move my body. There's
Yeah.
always been such a profound
Yeah.
connection with all of my emotions throughout my life through movement. So I love that.
Yeah. I remember when we had 9/11. I was teaching at the time. And, we all looked at each other, and we didn't know what to do. And I said, whenever I don't know what to do, I dance. And we danced. And then when we finished, the towers had fallen. And over the course of the next, few weeks and then months and then years, that is how we mourned. That is how we celebrated. That is how we memorialized. And that continues. For me, it really is about connecting people to the deepest part of themselves and also to community. And JCC for me stands for Join a Caring Community. And in my NIA classes, that is what I'm creating
Beautiful.
with the participants. Is
Well,
a
I've got
chance to be
some
there
wonderful
with
other
one another,
questions.
for one
So,
another.
17 years ago, you created a very full Parkinson's program at JCC that included over 7 exercise programs, lectures,
Yeah,
support, and art groups. The program provides so much, but especially a focus on dignity, hope, and possibility. I was fortunate enough to go to one of your
mhm.
panels last year where we met with on the panel. I'm not going to get everyone, but there was a top neurologist. There was a gynecologist who's become a
Mhm.
chef and wrote a book on brain health and food. There was a hypnotherapist from UK, a dancer and a Broadway performer with Parkinson's, and I think 2 other people. It was fabulous and so informative and very personal because I lost my father to Parkinson's in 2020, and I would have loved that information. So, my question to you, Caroline, what are two wins that you have witnessed within this incredible program? And has there been more interest from members in the last 5 years?
Yeah, so yes and yes. And that was an interesting panel. The brain likes novelty, and I'm somebody that loves the brain and have been working with top neurologists for a long time. And so when I put my panels together, I really am looking for what is novel. In fact, one of the uh, she's on our board, and she said to me right as we went up in the elevator, she goes, Caroline, this is a very unusual panel. How are you going to make all of these people connect here? And you know what? It was relatively easy because I think people like to know and learn about from different people different perspectives, maybe about the same thing. And what we were talking about, the connector, was finding the common thread is oftentimes the key. And maybe that's true in cooking. You have to tell me, as a chef, finding the main ingredient or the spice that's going to sort of be the connecting flavor that integrates all of these wonderful foods together. But that's really what it's like to do a panel. And in that particular case, Parkinson's disease occurs when the brain cells that make dopamine, a chemical that coordinates movement, stop working or die. So it's a movement disorder. And a lot of people don't realize that. And it's a chronic disease that's progressive. So creating programs for me for people that are living with Parkinson's is about creating programs that are about life and vitality and how they can enhance their brain health. And that was the connective tissue for that panel. We had also a prosecutor who has
Honey Brain.
Honey Brains, who has restaurant that is impacted by brain health and enhancing brain health that she started with her family. And I think everyone is really interested in the brain. And Annie Fine, the Brain Health Kitchen, she was our gynecologist who had a mom who was suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia. And she said, can food heal? And then Dr. Matthew Fink from New York Press had his father and his aunt who had Parkinson's. And he's always been curious about that and what can he personally do, not only as a neurologist, but as himself to ward off that illness. And lifestyle makes a huge difference. So that was kind of
it was
our
phenomenal. It really, yeah, I'm sure the woman that you were talking about in the elevator after that was like, wow, because you do, and that's a following question, but it was probably one of the best panels that I've been to.
It was fun. We had a Broadway singer who had Parkinson's who hadn't come out. Sometimes what happens for people when they get PD, there's a sense of hiding. They don't want to talk about it. And it's up to every single person when they want to talk about it. But what I love is providing an opportunity for people who are living with Parkinson's to be fully human and fully alive and to experience themselves in a setting where they feel supported. And so Matthew hadn't sung. And so he sang that night for us. And I thought he hadn't sung in 2 years. And he was is an incredible performer, musician, singer, Broadway, and met multiple Broadway shows. And, he'd been diagnosed and then COVID hit. So he hadn't been in a show since then. And he was really nervous. And then he said to me, he goes, Caroline, if I can't perform for people living with Parkinson's, who can I perform for? But he had me
No,
in
it was
tears.
very
I don't know if you
emotional.
remember at the
Very
end of the
emotional.
show.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. So I like to think of those panels as journeys, as stories, as something where we're going to explore together, listen to one another, hear about different points of view. And then ideally what happens is, and it happened that night too, the hypnotherapist told something to OBGYN, who then triggered something from Matthew, who's the chief, in neurology. And
They
they're like
they had
learning
their own
from
inner
one
panel.
another
Yeah. They
about their
had their own inner
fields.
panel. That's the
Yeah.
magic right there.
And
Yeah.
that's super fun when that happens. I love that. And you asked what was there's an increase in Parkinson's disease. Our Parkinson's is a result of many factors. They're not quite sure. They haven't pinpointed to one. They're thinking genetics and environmental. Sometimes traumatic brain injury can contribute to that. But our world is becoming more toxic, as we know. So we're seeing an increase in Parkinson's. And unfortunately, the Environmental Protection Agency did not, still up for review, but there's a chemical solvent and pesticide, paraquat, that has not been, it's still legal in the United States. And that has been proven to increase the risk of Parkinson's. So we all are at risk for PD, and it's important that we stay healthy. It's really important that we wash our vegetables, and it's really important that we eat well and exercise,
Yeah.
exercise, exercise. So the thing that I was really happy about is the Parkinson's Foundation gave us a grant for 2 years to create a variety show with medical experts and Broadway performers who had been impacted by PD or had friends or family. And that we did 11 shows, and that was one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done in my career. And we have that on our Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan YouTube channel. And we covered everything from sex to spirituality in that show, and heard from people living with PD. We were able to elevate them and hear their stories. And sometimes if they were nervous, we would record them so they didn't have to worry about shaking or feeling uncomfortable. Really taking care of people, I think, is what I like to do. I like to host things so that people can, once again, highlight who they are and feel comfortable in that space so that the magic of who they are comes out, whether it's a panel or a dance class.
I love that.
Or anything, yeah.
So, question number 3, a fun one. I recently have been introduced to the magic of sound bath healing and have been to at least 2 classes at the JCC. For someone like me who's had a lifetime of ENT issues, I've actually found it to be more healing than anything I've done. So for our 9 million viewers, tell us, what is sound bath healing and why does it work so well, in your opinion?
Yeah. Well, sound bowl healing is often practiced as a form of sound baths. So a sound bath is a healing ritual using instruments from around the world. They're usually bells that are in the shape of bowls that are turned upside down so that they look like a bowl, and they're played. There are a variety of sizes and even materials. They could be crystal bowls, they could be metal bowls. And this vibration, sound healing works. This vibration, the idea is to tap into the parasympathetic nervous system, right? So it's the opposite of the sympathetic nervous system, which we've heard a lot about: fight, flight, freeze, and the new one, fawn, which is essentially pleasing. Sometimes when we get stuck, what we do is accommodate and please people. And a lot of people don't think of that as a hijack of the amygdala and our systematic nervous system, but it is. So what is sound bowl healing doing? When you get into, sound is vibration, right? And there's actually been research that tuning forks can help us heal. So this is working along those kind of frequencies, and there's different frequencies that the bodies respond to, different even tones that we know, like the strings we tend to respond to with our vibration in our heart, the drums, our feet. So sound bowl healing, oftentimes you can sit in a chair or lay down, and then you feel and hear, and sometimes actually the bowls are placed on you, on a body part if you're open to that. And this vibration helps the nervous system stop holding on and gripping and, in that fight, flight, freeze. And it's one of the fastest and most calming, safe ways to relax. And in that state, Diana, as you know, we can heal the body ourselves. It is the state of rest and digest. It's the state of integration. It's super important when you're looking at any a VUCA world, a world in which there's, violence and uncertainty and such chaos, which we've been experiencing for quite some time now. 4 years of COVID in March. 4 years. It's unbelievable that we're at that anniversary. So it's important that we do things like meditation, cooking for ourselves, cooking the rainbow, using our hands. Maria Montessori had something. She was onto something. The map of the hands in the brain is huge. It's second only to the map of the lips. So what happens is when we're laying down and we're listening to these different sounds and vibration, we are able to feel safe. We're able to relax. We're able to let our system start to work to heal
Yeah,
and regenerate.
I love that something came to mind when everything that you've mentioned is exactly how I feel when I do this practice. And I think when we allow our body to be at that place, and I feel that way with restorative yoga too, when we're actually not doing anything, but we are present and open, all the good stuff happens, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I invite our listeners to just lift their shoulders up just a teeny, tiny, tiny bit. And when you do that, all of those muscles, I call those the 9 to 5 muscles now, really let them go, right? We need
Yeah.
the opportunity to
Yeah.
let go. We have to build that into our life. We have to build that into our daily practice. Some people meditate, some people walk, some people are in nature, some people read, some people cook, some people knit, some people read, some people, play paint. But that opportunity to let those 9 to 5 muscles,
Huge.
and I mean, when you blush, every cell in your body blushes. When you feel stress, every cell in your body stresses. So when you have a sound bath, it's exactly like what it sounds like. It's a bath of sound so that all of your cells are starting to vibrate in a way that is healing. So instead of being like a cat, afraid, the cells being afraid, which is what stress does, it's soothing, and this membrane of the cell maintains its integrity.
So if you haven't, for my
Powerful.
9 million following, done it, definitely I know JCC is going to have more. So check out their website.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4. Last year, I was honored to be on one of your panels with the phenomenal director, Cynthia Stone, the director of a documentary called Keys, Bags, Names, and Words, a documentary film about hope in aging and dementia. There were about 7 of us on the panel from all walks of life with different views, but truly a common thread. And you, Caroline, are truly a master and a curator of panels. Again, another superpower like no one I've ever seen. So how do you create the panels and what guides you to form such precise questions that make everything flow and the magic truly happen?
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about this question, and again, I go back to intuition and I go back to practicing what walking my talk for me means, giving myself the opportunity to be free to, and to listen to my soul and to listen to my desire to put together things that I don't know if they're going to work, but I just have a sense that they need to come together. And that panel in particular was an example of my honoring my creativity. I said, I don't even know if this makes sense, but I would love to have the people that are so talented that are at our fitness fair in the lobby that are presenting also be part of this panel. And you guys were exceptional. We had an OT, a PT, we had a nutritionist, we had a chef, we had somebody that did Ready, Set, Recover, we had a film director, we had a neurologist. And I remember we talked only briefly almost right before we went on, and I went, okay, Caroline, take a breath. And then I had like my dog ears out, right? I was just listening to my intuition, and for the connection, to make sure each person had equal time, to figure out how what they were saying and guide the questions in a way that I was out of the way and spirit was coming through and guiding us, so that who would be taken care of? All of you and the audience, so that the audience would have the opportunities to be prepared to see this film and hear from so many different people something new, something original, something that would click with them. Because remember, our audience is filled with
Yeah, a wide
incredibly
variety.
diverse
Yeah.
people. So to assume that one expert or one person can hold all the information is just absurdity, right? And also, it doesn't add to our wonderful mix of flavors. And so that's what happened. And when I think about putting panels together, I don't want anything packaged. I want something that's a little bit on the edge, right? Where people are not quite sure if it's going to work out or not, because what is required then is we all have to pay attention. We're not just, churning out what we know. We're having to really think about it and listen to one another. And what is that? It means we're present. And we're present to what? We're present to the moment. We're present to each other. And I feel like that is when we're fully alive. And bringing it right back to the beginning, your first question, that to me is bliss. That to me is making the ordinary extraordinary. And I don't do it. That is just the magic of the moment. I'm the conduit that helps make that happen, if you will, by just bringing together amazing people and having a conversation. And I think panels are more interesting, and I think the audience is more engaged when we want to hear from them, they want to hear from us, they hear from one another, the different panels. Because ultimately, I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve those that
Yeah.
are in
It's
attendance.
also the element of being open to the unknown. Like you said, you had your dog here. We had a quick
Yeah.
powwow right before, and then it was showtime. And it could have gone many ways. It was phenomenal. But it's that gut
Yeah.
feeling, like you say, trusting your intuition, but you are open to the unknown. And I'm sure you pray a little bit. You're like, come on. But I mean, to be
Yeah.
on, to not only be on one of your panels and then to watch you in action, you are something else. You really are. Yeah.
You know, I have to say, and I think your listeners and our followers, will appreciate that when you're in flow, it
Yeah.
wasn't, it was easy for me. That doing panels and moderating is something I just love. I just love it. It's easy for me. And for me, trying to find or looking for things that are easy, that flow like that, is, I think, a part of the magic of when you're looking for a career change or what to do, even physically. Like, should I exercise? If there's something that makes you feel like you're connected, it feels easy.
Well, again, it
Go
goes
for it.
back to number
You're on
one,
the
and it gives you
yeah,
joy. I'm doing a
yeah,
lot around joy with my
yeah,
clients right now, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a chef and a health coach, but let's talk about joy. So that's a whole nother thing. We can do a joy chat. All right, the final one.
I'm with you.
I started my business a year ago. It's called Healing Fully, Living Freely. As a chef and a health coach, I help guide people out of the fear and confusion of their own health and into clarity and balance. And everyone I interview, I ask this question to them. So, Caroline, what does healing fully and living freely mean to you?
Yeah. Well, as you know, Diana, I think the longer that we live, the uh, the the line starts to blur between healthy and unhealthy, and we start to see this infinity symbol, right? So, in August, I had an emergency appendectomy, and that took me for a loop. And I'm still fully healing from that, from the food choices that I'm making, the sleep choices I'm making, even though that was, August. That seems like, wow, shouldn't I be over that? But the body doesn't work that way. And what I'm seeing as a health and wellness professional is that line between having, I just talked to somebody recently who had a cancer diagnosis, and she goes, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. Am I now out of the healthy group? And I said, no. What we're seeing is like this: as our life continues and goes on, healthy is a definition that, for me, involves healing. And it's a moment to moment experience. And in NIA, we call it my now body. Again, staying in the present. What am I able to do today? How can I strengthen? How can I soothe? And how can I create some joy today in the choices that I'm making? And that for me fosters resilience. And I think being unwell or having a challenge is sort of part of the continuum. So what am I looking forward to? I'm on a healing journey. I've recently gone completely whole food plant-based for the last month, and I can tell you my body feels fantastic. I'm riding my bike around the park because I'm looking forward to my first backroads trip adventure to
Take
Sardinia
me
and
with
Corsica in
you.
May.
Oh my God.
I'm getting ready for that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm just also mitigating, as somebody that works with people living with Parkinson's a lot, living with cancer. I'm always looking to ways to be gentle with myself and heal myself, so that I'm strong and vital. But I have to take what I call turtle time. I have to take time out
Yeah,
so that I have a full tank of gas. And health is my word
I
for the
love
year,
that.
and
I
balance
love
is
that.
is
Oh,
and then the rest
yeah.
comes. The joy comes, the ability to work and use my intuition. When I do too much for others and not enough for myself, uh, and not create that win-win, that's where
Yeah,
I
I
get
think we're
into a
both
little bit of trouble.
similar in emptying our bucket or emptying our gas tank. And I think it's really important, especially people who are in service or people who are in health and wellness, to really check into, well, where's my gas tank level? And I need to be, it's like putting the face mask on. I need to be really doing well myself if I'm going to be of service to others. So, I love this. Where can people find you or find the programs? Is there something you're really excited about in 24? And then we'll say au revoir.
Yeah. Well, I'm at the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan, which is mmjccm.org, and anyone is welcome. You do not
I'm
have
not
to be
Jewish.
Jewish. I am not Jewish to join our program, to be and participate. It's hybrid, so there are in-person programs, there are virtual programs. So, and we have a cancer care program where we've been doing that for 17 years in Parkinson's and also in breast cancer and ovarian cancer. And it's important, 1 in 8 are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer in our lifetime. That's a lot. And same with Parkinson's, every 6 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's. So staying healthy and well is super important. And we like to be a resource, whether somebody joins or just takes a class or has a question. I am available to answer that, or my colleagues. And as I said before, JCC
Mhm.
for me stands for Join a Caring Community. So please come on by. And what am I excited about? As I said, my Backroads trip, continuing to meet amazing people like you. Diana, that's what makes me tick, is when I can meet people like yourself and then elevate you and help bring what your knowledge
And
to our
we've
community. I
only
think
just begun, baby.
there's
We've
no
got,
greater.
we've got a lot of fun things to create. So I'm going to say thank you and
All
goodbye to
right.
you. And then I'll do a final wrap up for the 9
Thank you so
million
much.
followers. I love you. Thank you,
Okay.
honey.
Now you too. Bye.
So that was phenomenal. I love Caroline. She is a very busy woman who really creates incredible programs. So if you live in New York or it can be virtual, I will put again the name of where you can contact the JCC. They have programs in everything. And yeah, there's always something we can learn from someone, right? So I'm going to end. If you can name it, tell me. 2 tickets to Hawaii. Oh, and if you don't know who I am, I'm Di. I do Chatting with Di, where I interview people who teach me, inspire me, and make me laugh. One or all three. Caroline does all three. And I interview a very wide range of people. So I love seeing all the new people here. And we're going to do end up, wrap up. Like I said, name it. 2 tickets to Hawaii. Never let you get too low. Whoa. No one? 2 more lines and we're out. Keep it moving from Color Purple. And why did I pick this? Because Caroline talked about movement. Caroline talks all about movement. We all, I mean, regarding Parkinson's, regarding life, regarding our mind, regarding our body, gotta keep it moving. Regarding what we want to learn in life, how we want to learn how to love. We've got to keep it moving, keep it learning, keep it vital. So on this beautiful Sunday, you may be reading your paper and drinking your coffee, but get up and dance. Thank you for coming. One more line. I love this song. It's from the Color Purple. Keep it moving, people. All right, we're done. We had fun. I love you all. I love my 9 million followers. Caroline is phenomenal. We love Caroline. Thank you all for coming. Follow me. I do put this on my YouTube channel. I could dance all afternoon, but I can't. Gotta do laundry. Love you. Bye.